workload like? Because I know a lot of students come here and they're like, oh, it's just art school.
Oh, no.
Like, what are you going to go do? You're just going to go paint. Yeah.
I mean, I have kids who go to regular college or, regular colleges like, Rutgers or something, and they talk about, oh, I have this class that I have to go to 3 times a week, and it's like a 50-minute class. It's so long, and I'm like, oh, my classes are all 3 hours.
Yeah.
Minimum. I mean, freshman year I had 6-hour classes.
Yeah.
The workload freshman year definitely really easy depending on your department. It's a lot more. You think it's hard, and then you get to sophomore year, and then you're like, oh my God, I had it easy. What was I thinking? Sophomore year is definitely probably, I think, one of the hardest years when it comes to the amount of work, because you have 7 classes, each 3 hours long, and then some people have jobs and, other responsibilities, and you have to do, a lot of homework, a lot of different classes. There's a lot of pressure to do well. Junior year, I think it's still hard, but in a different sense. You don't have quite as much work unless you have a job or internship like I do. Then I kind of feel like now I'm back to sophomore year.
Right.
But you might not have as much work, but the expectations are higher. So you may not have 7 assignments to do. You might only have 4, but you have to do like awesome on them. And there's no more, kind of being like, well, I don't know how to do that. It's like, well, if you don't know how to do it, find out. I'm not going to, they're not going to always baby you, or it's kind of like you just need to learn to take charge and do things on your own, and so it's a different type of workload, but it's still...
I think it's something that's really crucial about the workload is the fact that these aren't just teachers that stop teaching graphic design, just stop doing their own graphic design. They're actually working professionals.
That's
and
great.
So, it's awesome, but at the same time, they want you to be at the same level as if they're art directors and you're doing the work for them, and that's definitely something that...
Yeah, I mean, these people are still in the field. They're still doing things. I mean, I have a typography class with Paul Sayre. I have a graphic design class with John Fulbrook and Luke Heyman, and they're still doing... I mean, Heyman works with Pentagram, and Fulbrook has got amazing portfolio. My web design teacher has his own studio, which is where I'm actually interning at, and they're all doing the work still, and so that's great, because sometimes you'll go to an art school and you'll have a teacher who may have done things like 20, 30 years ago, and maybe it was great then, and not saying that it's not still amazing, but times change and things grow. I mean, if you don't know how to adapt and grow with the times, you're not going to cut it. I mean,
even just the networking alone.
I know. It's like,
because they'll remember your face, they'll remember the work that you did, and if you do it great enough.
Yeah. I mean, my boyfriend's parent, his father is a graphic designer, and he's having a hard time finding work nowadays because he's more traditional, and he was from back in the day. So you need to learn to grow and adapt and change with the times, and learn to network and make friends and become absorbed in the environment. Just live it, breathe it, eat it.
Right. What about the facilities that the graphic design department gives to the students?
I think the facilities are good. I mean, I don't use the facilities as much now that I have my own personal computer, but they're always up to date, which is great, and sometimes I have a hard time keeping up with things. I mean, in my web design class, we use Dreamweaver, but our teacher would prefer if we use a different program called BB Edit, and he's been asking for it for quite a long time, and they finally got it, but it doesn't work because I guess we just don't have the, I guess we have the rights to it, but only on one computer, and even though it's spread out through all computers, we don't have rights to use it on every computer.
Right.
I'm not quite sure what's going on, but we can't use the program, and it's a little disheartening that sometimes certain departments will ask for something, and ask for something, and ask for something, and if you do eventually get it, it takes a long time, but what they do provide is really good. I mean, for the most part, we have pretty much everything we need. We have printers, we have computers with almost every program you could ever want or use.
We have like 5,000 fonts.
I know, we have tons of fonts, and there's even programs on there that I don't think people even really use anymore. I mean, don't we have Quark still?
Yeah, we still have
Quark still. no one uses Quark anymore, or very few people do. And if you know how to use Quark, awesome, but not a lot of people use it anymore. And you know, we have great printers. There's people in there who know how to use the program, so if you don't know how to do something, they're really willing to help you out and do the best they can to, like, help you figure out what to do, what you need to do. And so I think the facilities we offer are great. I still think there's a lot of work that could be done, but compared to probably most schools I've seen, we've got an amazing setup. So
cool. And how much do you think you spend on supplies a year?
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah.
I've kind of lost track, to be honest. I bought a $500 printer, which is great to have your own printer if you can, because it really opens the range of things you can do, what you can print on. But it's really expensive. Not only is the printer expensive, but the ink and the paper. I mean,
would you recommend them to have their own computer the first year, or perhaps the second year, even printers themselves?
I didn't have a printer for freshman year. I mean, or a computer even, actually. I relied on what the school offered me, and freshman year you don't have the graphic design department computers to use. You just, you're actually, freshman year you're considered a fine arts major, so you're pretty much allowed to anything that's the fine arts section, so there are no special computer rooms set up for us. And so if I wanted to use a computer, I was very fortunate to have a roommate who let me use hers when she wasn't using it, and I went to the library a lot, and I used that, and it was good. It was definitely hard, especially as a graphic design major, you know, because a lot of us are very self-reliant on our computers, and you know, I didn't, like, I couldn't even go on Facebook, you know, or anything like that, but it wasn't.
But since you're a fine art major,
it's not
more
as important.
Yeah.
You know, it's great if you have it, but if you can't afford it right away, or you just, like, don't know which kind you want or something.
Because you only have one semester computers.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
Yeah, so you only have one computer class anyway, so it's really not important to have it your freshman year. Second year, it definitely benefits you if you have your own computer, because you don't have to rely on using the computer lab for your work. I mean, I know I'm up sometimes till 3 or 4 in the morning working on work, and unless it's, you know, finals, the computer lab's only open till 11, 10.
Yeah.
So you have to get your done early. So definitely benefits you, but the school does what it can to do, like, to offer you what it does the best it can to offer you what you need. So if you don't have a computer sophomore year, it's a little bit harder on you, but you can still get your work done. There are definitely things that sometimes bothers me about the school, whether it's more of a political standpoint or the way the school may operate. You know, I mean, I think, though, for the most part, I don't think I could be happier anywhere else. So as much as there's some downfalls about certain places, I know that all the good things make it worthwhile. And I think you have to learn to compromise no matter where you go. I think the only thing that I wish the school would work harder on is integrating the different majors, because we could all benefit from knowing each other. I mean, as a graphic design major, I think knowing a film major or a photo major or an illustration major or even a fine arts major, I mean, any of them, I could benefit so much from working one-on-one with them and forming a group. And I think vice versa. I mean, sometimes I think as a photo major, it would be awesome to have your work involved in someone else's project, because that's pretty much what you're doing when you graduate and you get a career. You're not going to be just working with only photo majors. You're going to be working with someone who's a graphic design major and someone who is an animation major or a film major. So I think,
I mean, and it's really incredible to do that in the first year, because the first year we're so integrated with all of our fellow students, and, like, you sort of lose that after a couple
and I mean,
years.
I'm so thankful. I'm still friends with people in other majors that I am, but it's definitely hard to meet other majors. And I mean, and in freshman year, you only meet fine art majors, illustration, animation, graphic design, cartooning. So there's also the photo majors and the film majors. There's so many places, and I just really think we should learn to work together more often.